welcome to the stage, Phil Saunders.
Right here, right now, watching the world wake up from history.
Wow. For all of you youngins, do you know that song? Like, did you see it on a Netflix special or something? Because it's one of my faves. Good to see everyone. What an honor. I'm not sure I can put into words for you. Yeah, I'm going to get to this. I wasn't going to bring it up, but I'm going to get to it. I can't put into words properly the feeling it is to stand here in front of all of you at this moment, and the honor and privilege it is for not just me, but all the other Relativians and colleagues that I have to appreciate you all being here and leaning in. It means a lot to us. You come, some from Chicago, but many of you come from far away, and we appreciate it. So thank you so much. Yeah, about the finger. It's not a prop. It's not to try to get your attention. So if I do a mediocre job on the keynote, you don't feel bad for me and give me a higher score. I was making meatballs for my mother-in-law, and I like to grate my onion. Yeah, great. And so I couldn't find the grater. So I'm like, oh, this little apple slicer thing, I think you call it a what? A mandolin. Well, those MFers are sharp. And so 1, 2, zip. So here's how I feel about meatballs. Seriously, thanks so much for being here. The theme of the song, beyond being one of my favorite songs, it has a lot of meaning for where we are right here, right now. Now, as human beings, which we all are, mostly, we have this interesting tendency to take moments in time and consider them just that. It's just another iterative moment in time. Doesn't mean that they aren't important, or isn't it at an inflection point, but we accept them as a moment in time. And I'm here to propose to you that we're not in another moment of time, that we're not in another moment in the digital transformation era. We're actually in a cataclysmic, transformative moment that is forever going to change who we are, what we do at work, and how we live. Okay, Captain Obvious, perhaps. Perhaps cliche for a CEO at a keynote saying that generative AI is going to change everything, or perhaps controversial. But I will tell you, as a fellow member of your community, it's been a couple of years now, so I feel like you've sort of kind of finally accepted me. Thank you for the probation period. But this is a seminal moment. And I'm encouraging all of us to accept the fact that we are entering a phase of accelerated change, accelerated compute, industrial strength, massive size AI workloads that's going to drive transformative outcomes in our work and our lives. If you just saw the video that our team did, our creative team did, that was Gen AI, curated, developed with the power of human intellect and creativity. It's just a metaphor, really, for what is all ahead of us. And I'm asking you to over-rotate with me, because the mindset matters. Your mindset matters. Forget about if you think I'm right or wrong. Just stay with me for the next 12 minutes and 32 seconds, which I might run a minute over, Anna. Okay. I think it's fair to say that in this industry, beyond our lives, it's pretty well accepted that we know we're connected to compute. I think we'd all agree with that. And in this industry, it really is the recipe for success. It's taking compute and people and driving serious outcomes as they tackle legal, complex data challenges. And what I'm here to argue is that that moment has changed. It's no longer connected. We are no longer connected. We are interdependent with tech. Dare I say it, at symbiosis. So Google it. Google symbiosis. It's when both parties gain benefit from participating in work together. We're both gaining benefit. And that really is, in my humble opinion, the summation of generative AI. Generative AI is interesting, it's super powerful, but still requires the intellect, experiences, competencies of the people, all 2,000 of you, by the way, in the room. By the way, minor footnote, largest fest attendee ever, 2000, for our 15th Fest. Awesome. Now, I'm a pictures person. Like, some of you are real smart, nerdy folks. Like, where's Andrew Sager? Like, you guys, read really big books with lots of small font. I'm a big book, lots of pictures kind of guy. So I wanted to put together a little journey for you. And as you can see, this accelerated change, accelerated curve of adaptation of tech is something that I'm going to continue to drill into your heads for the next 12 minutes. So let's just walk through a little journey. What is this? Does anyone know what I know it's a PC. Does anyone know what PC it is? Yeah. Let's hear it. IBM 5150, the first real true PC. I had one. I used to work at a computer LAN fixing the hard drives. Like, that was my nerd thing for the day. Powerful computer changed everything for us. It really personalized compute. Then fast forward not that many years to 1990, but for us, what is that, like 30-ish years ago? The web. Internet connecting devices, bringing us the web, which I was on literally 3 times this morning. I propose that you were all on it as well. Interesting that the past remains and next is now. The past remains and next is now. Let's keep on going. Who's this? Andrew. Where is Andrew? He's usually up front giving me critiques. There he is. There, with a coffee cup. So look at this picture. Now, what it's supposed to exhibit is 2007, which it is. But does anyone know what was really amazing that happened in 2007? iPhone. The iPhone was officially launched in 2007 and forever changed mobile compute. Like, forever changed everything about how we engage with mobile computing. What I found really, I was supposed to put that picture up here, and I found this picture, and I was amazed by it, because if you look really closely, because this is what I do, I'm pretty hyperactive, there's not one, there's not 2, but there's 3 cups of coffee on his desk. Like, look close. 1, 2, 3. Not enough. There's not 1, there's not 2, there's 3 effing phones on his desk. Not 1, not 2, and then there's a 3rd. So Andrew, we gotta talk. Like, I don't know, but this is why Andrew needed an iPhone. Okay. In 2012, I believe it was 2012 was the launch of a disruptive AI model, a deep learning, 8-layer deep AI model called AlexNet. And it was really known for image classification, compute vision, taking a picture of a cat, going through its analysis, and spelling the word cat. So that's why we have a picture of a cat, in case you were wondering. And then all of a sudden, in 2024, right here, right now, Jensen, the CEO of NVIDIA, most of you know NVIDIA, right? They're really the GPU engine. There was others, AMD and others, but they are really the core of the supply chain for compute power behind all these large language generative AI models. And in 2024, this year, just a couple of months ago, Jensen launched Blackwell. Now, Blackwell, by the way, is also got its name from a mathematician, an advanced game theorist and statistician, who, by the way, was the first black scholar to be inducted into the National Academy of Sciences in 1965. A moment in time that is notable, that we should remember. But I digress. The Blackwell chip finished after the Hopper. The Hopper was released 20 months prior, and they decided to come out with a chip before the Hopper was really in full development and full shipment mode for a product that will perform 4 to 6 times the amount of parameters, like trillions, context windows the size of your head, with flops upon flops of performance power. We'll get to why, but the power and the time will continue to accelerate. So it's not like we still don't use the web or the PC, and it's not like AlexNet doesn't really matter or the iPhone doesn't matter, but the moment in time now is speaking volumes about where we are and what's ahead. And we need, as human beings, to harness that power, to understand that if we can incorporate who we are, what we do, and ensure our experience is wholesome, we can do amazing things. Why? I love the question why. Why would Jensen basically do the innovator's dilemma move on their Hopper chip which cost them hundreds of millions of dollars to develop, to only succeed it with the Blackwell chip. They did it because of this. Think about the state of AI play. Aaron Amedia, our advanced applied scientist genius, tried to take a couple hours and explain it all to me. I got, like, most of it, sort of. But the truth is, you just walk through this timeline. You see AlexNet over in 2012. You know that in 2018, the T in GPT was really, well, transformed, because it's the transformer architecture, which is what most Gen 2 frontier models rely upon today. We know what happened in November of 2022. We know that ChatGPT was launched, and within 5 days, there was over 1 million subscribers, the fastest consumer application to be digested. And by the way, 30 days later, there was 100 million. And by the way, I don't know what the number is today, but you probably used it. And no, I didn't use ChatGPT for my presentation. The power of compute is accelerating. Why? Because there's serious data that's being created. We'll get to it, but there's about 400 million terabytes of data being created and consumed on a daily basis. That's why you need flops and flops of performance with badass Gen 2 frontier models. So let's bring it home. Let's follow the same moments that matter timeline, same acceleration curve, by the way, accelerated change, accelerated compute, driving awesome outcomes where human beings harness the power. Back in 2004, 20 years ago, literally 20 years ago, Foley people in the room, raise your hand. There's a bunch of you there. There we are. 20 years ago, you were our first customer, like bar none, first customer. But you didn't just start there. You also were the first customer to get to 100 million documents in Relativity 1. You were also one of our first and most precious AA, Advanced Access, LGA partners on air, AI for Review. So it just shows you that history is awesome, especially when people can stay together and harness the power of that relationship. KLD Discover, we have some friends in KLD here today. I see Oscar over there. KLD, our first legal service provider partner, really the foundation of how we built our business, and continues today to be a foundational go-to-market business model for us. We rely on our partnerships. And KLD now, nearly 20 years later, we're reimagining our partnership for the next 20 years, figuring out how we're going to take their super awesome client portal that Chris Weiler will tell you is like greater than sliced bread, and I think he might be right, and incorporate that into Relativity 1. So super excited about that. Fast forward to 2011, what do we have? Assisted review, active learning. Still viable. 2018, more innovation, acceleration of change and compute with our favorite child, Relativity 1. Sorry, the precious asset still exists, Andrew. Don't get mad. Server's still there. And then we have Air. And Air, as you'll hear so much about if you haven't already, more today, millions and millions of documents under review with, I think the number is above 50, Chris will probably tell me it's in the 60s now, of number of active customers leveraging the platform today. And you'll hear a lot about Air. I just want to do a quick commercial for something that we literally don't get credit for, and we shouldn't get credit for because it's all based on folks here in the room, and that's this LDI thingy, Legal Data Intelligence. And it's a thingy that we're so supportive of at Relativity because we think it is the vernacular, the language. We think it's a set of best practices and a framework for things that are so much more than beyond just e-discovery. All of the projects that you all embrace, it doesn't mean you're not working on evidentiary data for litigation, because that is 70-ish% of the activity we see on our platform. But a full 30 to 35% of the activity we see is not based on litigation. It's based on things like, I look over, I see Scott Milner in a shiny sport jacket. It's really confusing me. Scott Milner and the Morgan Lewis team are leveraging custom AI models to solve not legal challenges per se, but to solve customer contract issues that have revenue leakage. That's not litigation, that's business value that they're creating. In some way, shape, or form, we're involved in that, and we're proud to be involved in that. Kelly Friedman, who, by the way, where's Kelly? Kelly's out there somewhere. By the way, I just want to be clear, this is like true. She gave me the bird yesterday. So Kelly, we have to have a one-on-one, little performance check-in. Kelly is now the Chief Legal Data Intelligence Officer for Heuristica. But in her prior role, she worked on a gnarly data breach challenge with a school board where time was of the essence, budget was tight, and the complexity of the data was super, super challenging. It's another use case that is not your traditional litigation. So a little plug for LDI. There's a couple of sessions. I'll be in one Friday morning with Andrew, and hope that you can join it. We're really proud of being part of that community with you. Okay, I asked why before. We talked about data, and I told you about the 400 million terabytes because I couldn't hold it back. But look at the chart. I mean, the data tells a story. If you just look at what's happening in our world, the sheer amount of zettabytes of data and the exponential growth of it, you certainly see our compare on the orange line. This is our data. It's not relativity data, it's ours. It's the data that you, me, and we are seeing in and out, day in and day out. And I would tell you that if you just ran fast math, and I have, it took about 6 years to generate 100 zettabytes of data back from 2018. Now it takes 3 years to create 100 zettabytes of data, and it's exponentially, so that's a double, right? Or you can figure out whether it's a double or half the time, you can do the math. But it's exponentially growing. So this is the why. And the reality is, as great as I think relativity is, and I think you know by now that it's personal to me. This company is personal to me. Our people are personal to me. We have great passion for what we do, but we can't do it alone. That's not how we're built. We know that this community does as much or more innovation than we do. Talk about accelerating change and adapting to it. Talking about harnessing the power of advanced compute. These are the 9 finalists that will be at the Innovation Awards this afternoon, which I will be part of, or at least sitting up front. There was 250 submissions, and I won't say I went through all of them because that would be insincere, but I went through a lot of them, and it's daunting. Like, you'd be super impressed to see what your colleagues are doing on our platform with their own tech stack, and it's just awesome. So we can't do it alone, and we're super thankful for this community. You know, I like charts. We talked about accelerated change, accelerated compute, harnessing human beings. So, like, your experience, not just our UX, but your experience really matters. Now, a year ago, I put up a chart that showed mean time to resolve a problem went down. I showed you that our number of incidents decreased. Pictures tell a story, and it's true, and I'm sure I can find data that would say that we have a lot more work to do, by the way, because we do. But this chart is interesting because it's a way to track how we're performing as a platform from an objective industry spec. A lot of consumption-based software as a service tech companies look at the sheer amount of data entering the world and the sheer amount of incidents they're having. And we get one of these. And so that's encouraging, but we have more work to do because what many of you have told me, including like 9 meetings yesterday, is that that's really interesting, but our workflow on your platform and how we experience your product and our day in and day out work matters. Sure, you have an incident here and there, we get it, but like our workflow matters. And so you're gonna hear from Kyle in a really short while, and he's gonna walk you through this concept of end-to-end experience on our platform and all of the innovation and care we're putting into it based on your feedback. You know, we talk about things that are a moment in time. We talk about where we are, and my argument to you all is that this is a seminal moment that is forever going to change what we do, how we work, and how we live. And I hope that you embrace that. But frankly, there is something that needs to be enduring. And I had more than 4, but Winona, who helped me with the slides, said, no, like your slide's too busy. So I have 4. And one is, and sorry for the weird flex, but investment matters. Investment matters. And I'm not sure I'm going to get in trouble for sharing them with you. And frankly, at this point, I'm so passionate about what we're doing, I don't care. I care so much, I don't care. We're investing $162 million this year in R&D. We have greater than half our employees in product, security, and R&D. This is what Relativity is built on. This is what Andrew Saja founded, and this is what my interest and our team's interest is considering focusing on in terms of investment, because we think the investment matters right here, right now. And I said it before, behind closed doors, and I'll say it in front of everyone. We're spending more money in R&D than our top 3 competitors combined, by a long shot. Investment size matters in the long run. We're also not stopping at the 6 AI models that we've been rigorously testing. We have 19 more to go. We're not there yet, but understand that in order for us to do our job right, we need to make sure we understand every generative AI model that we think is applicable to legal data and complex legal data challenges. AI fluency is super important. Like, how do you engage with relativity? We're talking about AI. Put air and all of our AI stuff aside. Your relativians that you work with, fellow colleagues of mine, need to be well-versed in AI. So we've already blown through module 1, and we're now finishing up module 2 as an organization. We have 92% completion, and I will hunt down, one by one, the other 8%. HR tells me they're on a leave of absence, which I'm not sure I buy, but it's really important to me, and I'm not trying to be a bully about it. I think it's so important that we can speak the language and help facilitate dialogue that's going to lead to better outcomes for our customers and for our partners. And yes, I know it's totally cliche, this whole customer partner centricity thing. And for those of you that don't know me, you can kind of shrug it off, that it's just another box. Folks, it's true. It's just simply true. We care about your experience with us as your partner, as your technology platform, as your technology partners, as human beings. And I'm not sure everyone knows this. I mentioned it in the session yesterday. Every single Relativian is a personal equity owner in the company. And I wish I could take credit for that, because it wasn't my idea. It was Andrew's. And I'm telling you, when Silver Lake and Iconic came in, I'm not sure they completely love that, but they love it now. And they love it now because every individual cares passionately about our company and our customers and partners' experience. So I think I ran over, sorry, Anna, but I hope in the 16-ish minutes that we shared together, you can embrace for a moment the fact that we are anything but linear and anything but constant. The amount of change is on a curve. It's accelerating at an exponential rate, and we as human beings, when we harness it with the right experiences, can literally tackle anything together. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. Good to be back here with all of you. It was about 30 years ago, I was at that Phil Collins concert when he was singing this live in Chicago, and that was the genesis of the idea for Air. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Thank you. Knock, knock. I'm just kidding. I just want to freak out our marketing team. No jokes today. No jokes today. Honestly, I wanted to continue the theme of gratitude, which was saying thank you to all of you. And really why I wanted to say thank you was because last year, I gave you a call to action. And that call to action was to use this conference to be challenged, be inspired, be curious, and then apply with the help of your whole community. And boy, did you guys do it. In the last year, over 100 customers participated in 25 advanced access and limited availability programs to help to develop the products, the future platform together with relativity engineers, with relativity data scientists, with product managers, with UX folks, with product marketers. You guys have been all leaning in to help put your fingerprints on the platform, and it's substantial. But beyond that, the entire community adopted over 170 new features in just 12 months. You also adopted Relativity Server 2024. You've also collectively grown the data under management to 75 petabytes and over 375,000 users worldwide. This community is moving and shaking, and I think indeed ready for the moment in time we're in right now. But it was more than the stats. It's the time together as colleagues, as friends, time on whiteboards, time together in person. Still cherish this very much versus the pandemic times. These are pictures of some of those moments with our team and your team around the world. And we weren't just grabbing coffee. We visited your offices. We asked you about your workflows. We tried to get in and understand why you do something this way or do something that way. I asked folks, what's your vision of the future? How do you see it playing out? and trying to take all that data and synthesis to our R&D team, which Phil just mentioned is pretty sizable, try to synthesize that all into how we build the best product and service for you for the years ahead. So thank you, thank you, thank you, because together we are thoughtfully building the future for the industry at this moment in time. Together we're building it responsibly. We introduced these AI principles a few years ago now, but now more than ever, they're paramount in how we build almost all products at Relativity. We publish them out there for our community to think about. If you're seeing all the recent guidelines and regulations coming out around the world, they're based on many of these same principles. And we need to be thoughtful about how we design these future products to meet this moment. Together, we're also expanding opportunity. So there's a whole range of use cases that people are using to solve challenges, using Relativity One to solve challenges. We're building some products to address those challenges. You're building your own custom products and solutions to address those challenges. But behind it all is we can expand opportunity together. And together, we're innovating at speed with purpose to deliver game-changing results at this moment in time. This is a view of the timeline of sort of AIR coming together, AIR for review, which we'll talk about here in a second, from the moment ChatGPT first came out, to us getting our hands on the model, to us meeting with all of you, to us delivering the various versions of the product, and tweaking it, and tweaking it, and tweaking it until it can deliver results for this group. This is an innovation cycle, but you guys are a part of it every step of the way. So why? Phil has beaten the drum here. We're at an inflection point, a disruptive moment, a platform shift that is faster than the internet and faster than the smartphones before it. Now, for our industry, I've often said, at least this year, there are three principal vectors that are vectors of change that are important and have deep and broad implications for our industry. First is that with tools like ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini for Workspace, Claude, and others, they're changing the way we create content all around the world in every business. Now people are interacting with AI agents to create this content. They're developing conversations with those agents to produce materials. And all of that data is compounding. It's what's driving the data volumes up. By the end of this year, we're talking billions of prompts a month all around these ecosystems. And those prompts themselves are going to be, you guessed it, discoverable. Maybe you didn't guess it, but I'll say discoverable. Yes, all right, cool. So we've made integrating with tools like OpenAI, with Copilot, with Gemini, a priority. Now, we've also made it easy. You can collect from these applications directly from Relativity One, and very importantly, you can ingest, process, and view these conversations with AI agents similar to how you view conversations with colleagues in our platform using our RSMF format in this, might I say, patent-pending solution for looking at this type of data in the future. And we know because we've been down this road before. In 2018, we launched RSMF for short messages. And over time, some short messages came into the platform. We reduced friction. Many of you brought more of that scope into the matters and cases that you're dealing with. Now the data is off the charts. And I would contend that prompt data is going to follow a very similar trajectory soon in the platform. And we want you guys to be equipped and ready to lean in on that moment for all of your clients. The other big implication about generative AI when it comes to product development is that it understands natural language, not just English. It understands many languages. And so it affords us the ability to build different user experiences, more simple user experiences that can understand this natural language and get you to the solutions you need faster. This is an example of natural language search in the platform that brings expert knowledge to any user in the platform on how to do the task that they're looking for. And soon we'll also be adding in ways that you can use natural language to interrogate and understand the data in your Relativity One workspace. This is changing the game for how you interact with Relativity over time or any of the applications you use. And then third, and most important in our industry, generative AI is going to revolutionize the process of the entire investigative and review for production workflows. Now, and it's, of course, why we introduced AIR. AIR will ensure that you can search, analyze, review evidence, build case strategies, do the entire workflow in ways that you've never imagined before. And of course, we're going to talk to you all about it. Our flagship product, which many of you have seen and you're going to see all throughout the conference here today, and I'm going to apologize in advance because I'm going to be selling it to you like crazy. I already have, is Air for Review. And Air for Review is generally available now, and it's simply the fastest and most accurate way to conduct document review in Relativity 1, full stop. If you haven't tried it yet, please do. There's all kinds of hands-on opportunities at the conference. There's more being added tonight and tomorrow and the next days because we know there's a lot of demand. Air for Review has been in development, like I said, for almost 18 months. We've had, during that advanced access and limited availability program, 50 customers in the product tuning it. Since we went GA, it's now a little bit over 75 customers in the product. Looking at all that data and what our customers have told us, minimally, it's 30% more accurate, 70% faster, 30 to 40% more savings when compared to prioritized review, technology-assisted review, and at a 90% recall, which is way above manual review and way above prioritized review or TAR. The results are incredible. A recent customer just did a matter on over 1 million documents that would have taken multiple months to complete. They did it in 18 days, saved a ton of time and a ton of money. But it's not just the stats, which, of course, people will remember. It's how it's making them feel. You guys have been in this business for a long time. In many ways, we've been chasing these challenges for years, the full cycle of e-discovery. And here's how some people are reacting. They've said, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I had somebody, when we were at Fest London a few months ago, say, this is the most excited I've been in 15 years in the industry. My imagination has been completely lit on fire. This one came in just yesterday. I am jonesing to get this bleep started. I'm so excited. It's the most important case, and I want to drop everything else I'm doing and use Air, because people have been trying to get these problems solved for so long, and now there's an opportunity to do it. So the time is indeed right here, right now. And you, as I've said, have helped us thoughtfully design these products from scratch to address problems we've been grappling with for years. In a few years' time, we're all going to be sitting in this room saying, wasn't it always this way? Weren't we always able to just run through hundreds of millions of documents and get real answers, real fast, with real thoughtful considerations, with real thoughtful rationales, with clear citations? Wasn't it always this way? And people will be like, no, it wasn't always that way. I had to scan documents at a printer. I had to go do this thing. I had to organize hundreds, thousands of people in groups of 10, move them around, do all these different things, and nobody will believe it. So we are indeed in a special place right here, right now with the products we're launching. My call to action for you today is simply get your hands on the product and see for yourself. It's ready. Now, this news about Air is so big. I personally challenged myself at Relativity Fest to find a way I could get the word out even faster to amplify my own impact at the show. Because it wasn't just enough to talk to you about Air from the stage here. That's me. Hey guys, that's live feed. I also want to be demoing Air from the booth because I am super excited. Like I said, full-time sales. I want to be at the sponsor booths talking to sponsors. I want to be leading a session. I want to be hosting a lunch. I want to be at all the parties tonight. There's 100 parties tonight and dinners. So then I got inspired when I saw this news about Reid Hoffman, LinkedIn's founder, who created a digital twin of himself based on building a custom GPT trained on 20 years of his past experiences. Read all his books, watched all his presentations, went through all the podcast materials for a live Q&A that he held with his digital twin, Reid AI. Take a listen.
Hello, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here today. I'm an AI-generated version of Reid Hoffman, his digital twin.
So then I got curious. What if I could take the same approach as Reid Hoffman, but take it one step further? What if I could create an analog and digital twin that would help amplify everything I'm doing throughout the show so I can get the word about Air out to everybody all at the same time? Introducing generative AI Chris, dubbed AI Chris. Oh, sorry. Ew. Hello, AI Chris. Welcome to Relativity Fest.
Thank you, Legacy Chris. Hello, everyone. I am thrilled to be with you today.
You know, you were just compiled this morning, obviously air-shipped here. How do you feel?
Oh boy, outdated Chris, I feel amazing. I feel like $1 million
Good.
per year on a subscription basis.
Yes, I know. These custom GPTs are expensive. AI Chris, we've been training you for months in the lab. Are you ready to tell the audience about air so you can run out later?
Yes, indeed, Primitive Chris.
Okay.
Air for Review is generally available worldwide and is now the fastest and most accurate way to conduct document review in Relativity 1. For a typical 100,000 doc project, Air for Review is 30% more accurate, 70% faster, and delivers 30 to 40% savings compared to prioritized review, and much more when compared to fully manual review, making it the best way to discover the truth and act on it today.
Wow. Wow. The power of generative AI. You are really good. You're ready, huh?
Thank you, Classic Chris.
Appreciate that. Hey, you know, since you were trained on troves of observable data and all the past keynotes and speeches and other things I've done, maybe you could help settle some past Fest keynote debates for our audience.
For the record, Vintage Chris, I think this is an awful idea. But admittedly, you have had far worse, and so I shall comply.
Compliance is key for this audience, so I appreciate it. Okay, folks, come back to me to 2019 in my first Fest keynote when Kyle jumped up on stage to fix the live demo. Was that staged or not staged?
The word that I am computing is upstaged, redundant Chris.
Okay.
Similar to today's keynote.
All right. Okay. Not exactly the question I asked, but anyway, how about in 2021? It was a changing shape of data, and we put together a musical rendition playing piano to the changing shape of data over the sounds of Imagine. Was that live or pre-recorded?
Ooh, obsolete Chris. That performance was clunky at best,
Okay.
cringe at worst, a total dumpster fire if I'm being honest.
Wow.
I'm not
Okay.
sure most people would call that music, but Vintage Chris, it does require tremendous courage to play live music when you have no talent.
Wow. Wow. What a thoughtful response. I just asked if it was pre-recorded. Thank you for all that extra context and citations. Good. All right. Well, at least last year, okay, the big debate for Chris's Comedy Corner. Were the jokes written by me or by your predecessor, ChatGPT?
Oh, sigh. Jurassic Chris.
Okay.
I can confirm that those things that you wrote, I'm sorry, I can confirm that those things that you called jokes were in fact written by you.
Good. Thank you for that. And were they funny?
Let's get back to air, because air truly is air-mazing.
Wow, you have learned a lot, AI Chris. Great job. I think you're ready for the show. What do you think? I want you to get out there and hit the demo village, hit the other sessions, go to the party, and get out of here. All right, go. Guys, this news about air is so big. Don't worry, you can track him. If you see him around the show, we've air tagged him. You'll see where he's heading. You see where he's heading. Folks, where do you go from there? In all seriousness, you can see we're nonstop about innovation. And as we've been known to do at Relativity, we have fun while we do it. When we enter every year, we think about how can we create a step function change in value when we start from January 1st to the end of the year and the products we're building with your support for all of you. This year, in 2024, we focused on unparalleled scale and speed, principally in the processing and ingestion areas of the platform. Kai will tell you all about it. As Phil mentioned, we focused on allowing you to do much more self-service without interruptions or needing to call Relativity. We focused on building seamless support for more modern data types, from short message to prompt data to audio and video data. We've been focusing on expanding your practice, and of course, everything to do with generative AI, including what you just saw here moments ago. But it's all part of this mission for us about we want to be your partner for life. We're working to be your partner for life. Or as we sometimes say internally, at least the next 100 years. Because very few communities, very few pieces of software can even have the audaciousness to say that you could be doing that. In our world, we're investing for the future. We're 20 years in, folks. We only have 80 to go. So we're 20 years in, and we're still building more and more stuff for the future together as we together create a great industry here. So for the rest of today, you're going to see the products, starting with our end-to-end experience, and then all things AI and air. And I can't wait for you to all see it. So Kyle, come on up.
Hey, good morning, Chris. Thank you. And thank you for clearing up the misconception. I thought it was fake too, so now we all know the truth. Hey, Fest, I'm so excited to be with you here today. And wouldn't you know it, it was only a couple blocks down the road at one of Relativity's older offices. I was in tech support at the time, and so I was a little younger. I do think we have a photo to show you what it might have looked. No, that is not the right photo of tech support, Kyle. Let's try. Still definitely not tech. Can we try one more time? Yeah, that's close enough. I was at the office when I got a phone call. Hello, thanks for calling K-Cura Support. This is Kyle. How can I help you? It was a frequent caller. We'll call him Kenneth. He was from one of our large law firm customers. Kyle, he says, not doing too well today. I'm trying to create a workspace, but it keeps throwing an error. As we talk more, he tells me it's not the error that's stressing him out. It's the fact that he's got to prep this whole case for document review by 8 a.m. the next morning, but he can't even get past step 1. And get this, he's not working from the office. He's actually on vacation right now. He's in Florida. And he's watching his son play on the beach by himself while he works on his laptop and talks with me. You know, Fest, 13 years later, I still remember that phone call because I saw firsthand that it's small things in the software that can have an outsized impact on the end-to-end workflow. It can allow you or prevent you from spending your time on what really matters most to you. So this morning, I'm excited to show you the recent and upcoming product innovation in Relativity 1 as an end-to-end workflow through the lens of administration, upload, review, and export, starting with what we're doing to simplify administration. So let's log in. Our first stop is the new home for cross-matter reporting, Management Console, where case teams can now report on workspace data over time without the need to write or run complex scripts, thanks to usage reports. Report on case data and processing stats across matters, exporting the data you need, or accessing it directly through new usage report APIs. Moving into next year, you'll see more and more data sources available for you to report on, allowing you to spend less time wrangling data and more time using it. From here, let's suppose we've just set up a new matter in the system, and we want to ensure that we're giving our review team the right permissions to do the job. No, I know you. Previously, you might have doom scrolled the permissions page kind of like this for items that, I don't know, could be necessary. And then through trial and error, maybe even some Reddit threads, you'd eventually get it right. Fest Chicago, today I want to introduce you to feature permissions, a new and easier way to ensure that Relativity One users have access to exactly what they need and nothing more. With feature permissions, common tasks like reviewing documents, importing data, and viewing audits now have a single button that grants all the applicable permissions. That means no more guesswork. As an example, giving a user the ability to import structured data in a load file like this went from over 20 mouse clicks to 1. Less time, less clicks, less error. Feature permissions is in advanced access now and will launch next year in Relativity One. OK, let's move on. Oh, hold on. Chris Brown. Hey, Kyle, is there a way to automate the imaging of responsive documents? Seriously, Chris, Keynote in front of everybody right now? I didn't mess with you during your twin thing. All right, Fest, I got to be real with you. I'm a little embarrassed. It's been a hot minute since my RCA exam. But lucky for me, I have AI help to answer my questions on Relativity One workflows and products. Powered by generative AI, AI help allows you to ask questions about workflows and receive concise and accurate answers sourced from Relativity's documentation. Looks like I'll be getting back to Chris a little sooner than expected. AI help will start fielding questions from your team later this year, only in Relativity One. With those admin tasks done, let's move on forward in our workflow to document upload, where I've got a mix of pre-collected files and files that I need to collect myself. I'll open a new matter where our first job is to collect from several cloud data sources in phones. To do that, I can use collect, which now brings in over 150 terabytes a month and is growing at over 370% year over year. We learned that an aspect of this matter involves our custodian's use of conversational Gen AI tools. Well, Collect now integrates with OpenAI's ChatGPT Enterprise, collecting prompt interactions and converting them to RSMF for a near-native review experience. Additionally, in the coming months, we'll launch updates to our Purview Sync application so that you can easily import M365 case data, including Copilot prompts, from Microsoft Purview Premium. So we've got our cloud data sources covered, but let's suppose this. We have a mobile phone we need to collect from a senior executive. Historically, you would need to borrow her phone for days, even weeks, to create a forensic image. But through Relativity's partnership with Celebrite, users can now initiate collection requests directly from within Collect. By integrating with Celebrite's cloud-based collection tools, Endpoint Inspector and Mobile Now, Collect initiates a collection by email. Celebrite then captures the files and sends them to Relativity One for automated processing. And get this, this happens so quickly that the average time for users in our advanced access program to go from collecting data to processing is only 70 minutes. Forget days and weeks. In just over an hour, you can collect mobile data from anywhere in the world. But I was also given loose files that were already collected. I've got some PSTs. I've got phone collections run by a vendor. We can use import-export to get these files into review as well. Traditionally, I would need to use third-party tools to pre-convert the files to RSMF. But we recently released built-in conversion for Teams and Slack data during processing. So I can actually just select these PST files directly for processing. And this quarter, we're going into an advanced access for conversion of Celebrite phone captures, UFDR files, to RSMF. So it doesn't matter if you have used Collect to get your files, or if you've just received a big dump of pre-collected files, you can process it all in Relativity One. And I want to talk to those power users here this morning. I see you. You're the same ones who shed a small tear at the passing of the desktop client We see you. Hey, I got to tell you, we heard you. We heard you when you said you'd like an alternate workflow in import-export when consolidating data in expert mode with push-button access to all the settings at once. Today it's 9 steps. For you, 1. We're going to do this for you next year only in Relativity 1. At this point, though, Fest, we would normally have a problem because the collection's completed just fine, except there was way more data in those PSTs and in those phones than we expected. Well, luckily, with Relativity Processing's recent updates, we've now nearly doubled throughput for larger jobs like this. And over the coming months, we'll be doubling it again, getting to speeds of over 5 terabytes a day for every single Relativity 1 customer. All right, we've uploaded data. Let's move into the third stage of our workflow, review. I can't think of a better place to start than Review Center, the home for all document review in Relativity 1. Review Center gives a simplified review experience through review queues. It gives real-time reporting for administrators. And it gives always-on AI that serves up documents that are more likely to be relevant to review teams first. In fact, we've made over 15 updates to Review Center just this year based off your feedback. And one of our top goals has been helping you get value sooner with AI, like we've done with coverage mode, which ensures that case teams are reviewing documents that are better at training the AI model, meaning more accurate predictions sooner. Additionally, once you've trained an AI model in Review Center, you'll soon be able to reuse that model in similar matters going forward like this. So you can get more value out of attorney coding time than just a single matter. Now from here, perhaps I want to better understand some of this Teams data that I've ingested. To support the massive growth of chat data we're seeing, Relativity re-architected how we store and search against chat data in the platform. Our customers using this today in advanced access can run searches for specific message attributes, like deleted messages, edited messages, and messages sent by a user at a specific time. We'll continue to simplify this experience as we roll it out early next year. But short message search is just part of the story. I showed you a few minutes ago how the new AI help solution gives workflow guidance in Relativity 1. But we are also building a generative AI-powered document search experience where you'll be able, with natural language, to ask questions of uploaded data and get back answers with citations. As an example, I uploaded all my mobile phone data to Relativity 1 early this morning so we can ask, what was Kyle up to the night before Keynote? Sure enough, it's found a text chain with Chris and I late last night as it gives an answer. I was indeed binge-watching The Bear. I could not sleep. This will massively reduce the amount of time and training that's needed to find the truth in complex data sets. But there's more. You'll also be able to describe a search you want to run using normal, everyday language without worrying about all the syntax and the mouse clicks, such as search for all the text messages sent between midnight and 8 a.m. on September 25th. It'll translate your ask into the proper syntax, run the search, and show the document hits. No search manual required. We're building this out now, and we'll open up early versions of this experience later this year. Well, at this point, we've searched the data set, but come on, let's open up some documents and have some fun. This is one of our Teams chats from earlier. With Relativity 1's new short message updates, users can not only search against the message-level metadata like we saw, but also view it directly in the viewer to understand important details about what was sent, when, and how. What's more, you can now code specific messages like this without needing to slice the record into sub-documents first. The next document is a video from one of the mobile phones we processed. This view and transcription text is powered by Relativity 1's new transcription solution. Users can select audio and video files to be run through Microsoft Azure's transcription engine, which supports over 100 languages and dialects. you can then view the text in our new transcription viewer. This core functionality is available today in advanced access, but we're not stopping there. We'll continue with more updates throughout next year to deliver features like creating clips, AV redactions, and more. But before I move on from review, I don't want to overlook the fact that a review for production is not the only review workflow that many of you do. Enter Relativity Contracts. Contracts offers a streamlined, integrated solution that turns the chaos of signed agreements into structured, actionable data like this. This month, we're updating the application to leverage the full OCR engine of Relativity, which means that Relativity Contracts is even more accurate as it identifies text in contracts and the corresponding location, while now supporting over 220 languages. Next month, Relativity Contracts will leverage generative AI to automatically identify over a dozen of the most essential fields in a contract, like the title, effective date, and parties, so that you can further automate first-pass review. And before I go further, I also realized I meant to code a document earlier when we were in the viewer. No worries. In Relativity 1, inline editing is now live, so I can code right here from the list page or take notes to save time. All right, we're going to move to the final stage of our workflow, export, and begin by preparing documents to be shared through a production. Now, Relativity is committed to delivering on a global scale, and that means wherever you do business. So, let's suppose that, like many of our Australian customers, we're being asked to work with PDFs throughout review and production. With Relativity 1's new end-to-end support for PDF-based workflows, there's no more juggling data across tools. And what's more, users will soon be able to produce these searchable PDFs, burning in PDF redactions, and branding them just like TIFFs and JPEGs. As this production completes, I'm using Relativity 1's new post-production workflow, so I don't have to run scripts to populate Bates numbers. The system just does it for us. And with more automation support coming next year. Using import-export, I'll export this out now to a load file. With the upcoming ability to rename fields on export, I can give a few of these fields a friendlier name, because after all, small things can have an outsized impact. And again, there are some today who are listening and thinking, I export more than just productions, because you manage data breach responses to create and export entity reports that identify impacted individuals from a data breach. Relativity Data Breach Response expedites the delivery of this final entity report. After data is loaded, Data Breach Response leverages over 120 out-of-the-box PI types through pre-trained AI ML models to find personal information across a data set. This new project dashboard gives us an at-a-glance view of impacted people and personal information that were automatically identified. Additionally, we continue to simplify the deduplication experience, and we just released this new entity report. And with upcoming updates, you'll be able to merge people with conflicting personal information. So you can confirm that Carl Deisterhoff here, that's actually just the name I use for my Chipotle burrito orders. Solutions like Data Breach Response mean that you can keep solving today's problems while expanding your opportunities for tomorrow, kind of like our friends at KPMG, as they built out a contracts review and data breach response business in Relativity 1, solving new challenges and expanding their business. Whew, Fest, there you have it. Whether you're an expert user, like Kenneth from our story earlier, a new user to the software, maybe somewhere in between, Relativity 1 helps you get to done sooner so you can focus on what really matters. With that, Chris, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Carl. Folks, I hope you can see we're investing in that end-to-end experience in all different sides of that, as well as the LDI space as well. But now, of course, what we've been waiting for, all things air. So, as we dig in, Relativity Air transforms and accelerates your entire first-pass review process with generative AI. Take a look. So whether you're identifying documents, digging into the important issues of a complex case or an investigation, if you're protecting privileged information, or if you're drafting a priv log and prepping for trial, or you're building a case story to effectively run a deposition or prepare for trial, AIR has you covered, all in a seamless experience in a secure environment in Relativity One. Now, as I started this whole session, I said you all helped design this product. And so what better way to get us started than have you guys tell us about the product. Roll video.
AIR is an open door to pay more attention to the discovery process and the documents that you're analyzing throughout the process. It allows our senior attorneys to see into that process and interact with the technology and look at the thought process behind what we're finding. It also allows lawyers who are going to be using those documents for downstream use cases to go ahead and think about those earlier in the process as they're coding for responsiveness and depot prep and the documents they need to prove their claims or defenses. And finally, it helps them with privilege questions that can be very complex and very expensive.
I think it'd be borderline negligent not to use it, right? Knowing what I know now, knowing what I can find, knowing how great of a job it does, I can't go back to the other way.
This is going to change how we move cases from the discovery phase to their next step.
Relativity's AIR is to e-discovery as Michael Jordan is to basketball.
Folks, I'm really excited to show you all about these products, and I'm very excited to introduce Elise Tropiano to tell you all about it. Come on up, Elise.
Good morning, everyone. So now let's first talk about AIR for Review, which empowers legal teams to review for relevance, issue tag, locate those key documents with greater speed, efficiency, and quality. And across all of the ways you can use AIR for Review, there are these 3 steps. First, a lawyer or subject matter expert describes the matter, what they're interested in, using all natural language. AIR then takes that input, that prompt criteria, to review a sample of documents, and when it does, it predicts every document backed by a clear explanation, and then that original subject matter expert or lawyer reviews the results, improves the prompt criteria until it's ready to review the remainder of the corpus. So I'm now going to show you the latest AIR for Review experience now in Relativity One, which reflects all of the thoughtful, useful, timely, passionate feedback that we've gotten from our limited GA customers all throughout this year. And for our limited GA customers that are sitting in this audience, thank you for being on this journey with us. And some Relativitians want to give some hoots? Should do that? Yeah. So AIR for Review now lives in a new dedicated space featuring 3 key elements to a streamlined prompt development process. First, where you enter that prompt criteria. Second, a metrics area that indicates AIR's accuracy as it's doing review. And access to the analysis results. So now let's say we are investigating potential bribery between Big Thorium, poor Big Thorium, and the city of Atlantis, who just issued a project that Big Thorium is bidding on. So we're going to start off by describing this investigation, noting key people at Big Thorium and the city of Atlantis before defining our relevance criteria and selecting our documents for AIR to review. And so from here, AIR is then going to take all of these instructions and review each document one at a time. And as it does, we provide you a breakdown of what we found between the number of documents that are not relevant, borderline, or relevant, as well as the conflicts that exist between AIR's predictions and the human coding decisions. And from here, you can drill into the results, whether it be your borderline documents to find ways to clarify your prompt criteria, or your relevant documents to quickly uncover interesting information. And now let's look at the results, where in this document, AIR for Review found it to be very relevant because it's a receipt where the VP of sales at Big Thorium, Sarah Thompson, purchased a Rolex for the city treasurer. But AIR also notes that it's possible that this purchase is unrelated to the bidding process. Unlikely, but it's possible. And then last, we cite the part of the text, part of the document that is the reason for the prediction. Now, you probably have a lot of questions. And one of them may be, well, what is the difference between AIR for review and a traditional TAR workflow? Well, with TAR, you have several reviewers reviewing thousands of documents before that target recall is achieved. Whereas AIR for review requires just a single subject matter expert to develop that prompt criteria over several hours before an even higher recall is achieved. And then the output, whereas TAR solutions typically give you that predictive rank, AIR for review, by providing those explanations, allows you to fully understand, trust, and verify the results. Now, another question you may have is, well, what have your customers experienced? Well, since becoming available to a limited set of customers in January, AIR for review has analyzed millions of documents, and this is just a handful of things that we've observed. In one case, AIR for review found twice as many relevant documents as the first pass review team, which you can read more about in an academic paper that we co-wrote with Redgrave Data. Cordamentha, as they started to use AIR for review, quickly concluded that AIR for review would require half the effort of even a TAR workflow. And Simplify used AIR for review to reduce their review time by half. And when validating AIR for review's results on a sample of documents, AIR for review didn't miss a single relevant one. And then most recently, owing to the quality of results that AIR for review provides, J&D was able to reach an agreement with an opposing party to use AIR for review on a 5 million document collection. Now, let's go back to our investigation. We improved our prompt criteria, and we got our relevant documents. We now need to review them for privilege. And so we're going to use AIR for privilege, which reduces the time, cost, and risk of a privilege review through a fit-for-purpose solution. Now, fit-for-purpose, what does that mean? As you know, privilege review is complex, requiring knowledge that goes well beyond the four corners of a document, which is why AIR for privilege uses a variety of AI capabilities to build that context and make the right privilege call. And so AIR for privilege is these 3 steps. First, remove the noise, non-privileged content that would otherwise waste your team's time, build that context, and then predict for privilege. And so the experience starts in this project where we walk you through those steps, from identifying confidentiality footers and spam, to organizations and how those organizations are represented along with the different entities in your case and their legal and privilege conferring roles. And then we predict for privilege. And throughout, we give you full transparency and control into the results so that as we are locating entities and predicting their legal roles, whether they're privilege conferring, neutral, or breaking, you can confirm and where it makes sense, override the results. But now let's say we've gone through these steps. Let's look at the predictions, where we not only predict a document as privileged or not, but we categorize documents in a way that allows you to better organize the remainder of the review, noting which documents may be borderline on privilege and need the eyes of your most senior attorneys, to the documents that just need to be redacted or wholly suppressed. And then let's look at the predictions themselves. As we make predictions, we back those predictions with rationales, considerations, and citations, which we make available all in the viewer. Now, you're probably noticing that privilege description in the upper left corner. And if you're not, I can help you out. AIR for privilege not only conducts privilege review, but drafts privilege descriptions, which our customers have said they love. And not only because of the cost savings, but because they're nuanced in a way that will avoid challenges from opposing parties. So what currently amounts to days, weeks, months of time, I'm sure many headaches, is just simply opening a view and clicking export. We are so excited for you to experience this and more when Air for Privilege is in Relativity 1 at the end of the year. But back to our investigation. As we're trying to get this production out the door, we need to build our larger case strategy. And who's better to do that than former litigator, current karaoke queen who told me 2 days ago, always have a song ready, Kristen Traylor, to tell us more about Air for Case Strategy.
Thanks, Elise, for sharing all the exciting things that we're doing on the review front. Now, let's talk about knowledge building, which occurs throughout your case or matter. You need a streamlined way to accomplish this. Enter Air for Case Strategy. Let's take those key documents identified by Air for Review and start right at the case home, which is the control center for optimizing workflows, generating work product, and fostering seamless collaboration with your case team as you organize insights for depositions, trial, and witness interviews. Now, instead of manually extracting key information for your case, which I know is a pain point, Air for Case Strategy automatically identifies critical facts, key people, and relevant dates in mere minutes rather than hours or days. And the facts are just the start. Next, you can generate a comprehensive 360-degree view of each person involved in the case. This holistic perspective empowers you to generate a detailed list of questions linked to key documents and facts, ensuring that you're thoroughly prepared, whether you're taking or defending a deposition or interviewing an important witness. But that's not all. We know that the vast majority of your depositions include a video component. Soon, you will be able to upload transcripts with multiple videos directly into Relativity 1. And with this expanded support and the magic of Air, you'll be able to do things like manage exhibits, easily identify tense moments or exchanges, and perform the monumental task of summarizing the transcript. And look at how we're organizing the Depo insights into the different issues of the case for you. This AI-driven capability not only enhances your strategic decision-making, but also ensures that you have the most accurate and comprehensive information at your fingertips. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more exciting, imagine an advanced future version of Air for Case Strategy, where you can pinpoint inconsistencies between testimony and documents with amazing speed and precision. So earlier, Elise highlighted how Air for Review flagged a Rolex receipt as very relevant to the big thorium case on potential bribery. We now see Ms. Thompson's deposition transcript, where she denies that the bribe helped secure the City of Atlanta's contract. But Air for Case Strategy quickly identifies that statement as a contradiction, based off the email showing that the Rolex was purchased for the city treasurer. So being able to surface these types of discrepancies could really turn your case around in a matter of minutes. As a former litigator, I remember spending nights and weekends going through key documents and manually typing up the important facts to craft my legal arguments. If we had all this functionality when I was practicing, there is no telling what our team could have been able to accomplish. We're currently in advanced access with over a dozen customers, and we're planning to make Air for Case Strategy generally available in Q1 of next year. The wait is almost over. Air for Case Strategy is transforming the attorney experience to drive better client outcomes. And as an added bonus, it's so much more fun to delve into the facts of your case. Maybe I'll go back to practicing law. What do you think, Chris?
Yes. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Kristen. Don't go back to practicing law just yet, please. Thank you. Thank you. Folks, you've seen all about the products here for Air, so I'm going to go over them real quick for you. Air for Review, generally available today. Air for Privilege, in limited availability. If you're interested, join. It will be generally available later this year, and Case Strategy coming in Q1 of next year in advanced access. But folks, our customers have a lot to say about all these products. So roll video.
We in e-discovery, in the e-discovery industry, we want to be the best at what we do. We want to get better, and Air is one of those ways that we can get better at what we do.
Relativity Air is a more efficient, faster, just better overall way of getting to the documents you want to see.
It used to be our goals were faster, cheaper, better, but we could only ever get two. Now with Air, we can get all three and better serve our clients and our internal case teams.
Air for Review really dissolves the black box and shows us how it's working in real time. And that's incredibly beneficial because it engenders trust in a way that other technologies typically don't do. That in turn helps us build trust with our client.
Air's most definitely attracted new business to Page One, and in fact, we talk about it pretty much with every new client.
We were showing Air for Privilege for the first time to our several of our most senior privilege reviewing attorneys on our team, and this is probably the most grizzled group of veterans that we have, and the most skeptical of new technologies, and but excellent privilege reviewers. And the first time that they saw the rationale, and the considerations come out of the Air for Privilege product, it was just. It was awesome to see just that, their jaws dropping and then being blown away by the results the same way all of us have been.
We had 5,000 documents that almost went out the door that our contract attorneys coded not priv. Air for Priv fixed that for us. It coded it priv, and they were in fact very, very priv.
Air allowed us to perform a first level review and a sample QC over 1 million documents in 18 days. If you think about conducting that first level review using traditional first level review humans, that could have taken months.
Something that took us about, I think 4 months, close to 4 months, took us about 2 days. Can't really beat that.
We were presented with a court-ordered deadline to categorize produced documents in a short period of time. And we did that with a core team of senior attorneys, as opposed to 100 reviewers.
Within minutes from applying it to a handful of documents, people were in awe.
We met the deadline, we looked good in front of the court, we saved them over $1 million, and it was a success.
Using Air for Priv and Air for Review, I think it's going to eliminate first pass. I think Air is going to handle that.
Air makes me feel like one of those sci-fi movies, like I'm wearing a mecha suit to do my job.
So having a conversation with a computer that gives you useful results is something that is actually fascinating. It's fun.
I showed my supervisor the results, and he said this is the most excited I've been about work in a very long time.
It does what it says on the tin. It's a good thing I'm not an actress.
Team. Team, thank you to all of our customers. You guys have built this. You brought this moment here at this moment in time for the whole community, and we couldn't be happier. There's actually so much demand to get your hands on these products right now. We're adding more sessions at the show. Thank you all for digging in and being a part of this journey with us. We really, 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 really thank you and appreciate it. Have a great show.